Hi there, and welcome to Scaling for Service Providers. I'm really excited that you have taken action and decided to join this training. Now, I try to be as concise as possible so that you can get the most value out of the next hour or so that then you can go back and immediately start implementing these elements into your business so that you can see it scale. Now, all this stuff that I'm sharing here is designed to help you and give you clarity on how you can transition out of delivery so that then you can get your time back and scale your business, all while increasing customer satisfaction, word of mouth, and profit. If you have been in business for about a year, 2, 3 years, 4 years, and maybe you're by yourself, already have 2 to 3, 4 people team, you know how hard it is when you're trying to run the business, run the operations, do sales and marketing, and at the same time, deliver the service. And so if you're struggling with this, then you have come to the right place because I'm going to tell you pretty much the process that I went through to take myself out of the delivery of the service, and it allowed me then to scale my business. And so if you are a B2B consultant, right? You're providing services for companies. If you're a consultant, this is going to work for you. If you are a freelancer, this is going to work for you. Or if you're an agency owner, this will work for you. Pretty much, if you're a professional service provider, then this is going to work for you. I know that is because, well, you have a very similar business model to the one I had in my production company. And so I know that you're not that far away from the processes and the systems that we implement in order to deliver the service to our customers. And therefore, I'm sure that this is going to work for you. And so if you're feeling tired, go ahead and take some coffee, please. I want to make sure that you focus and take some notes as we're going to jump right into the content. And that way you can find it as valuable as possible. Now you have seen for whom this is. Now, in order to give you a bit of context and how I came to develop and learn and implement all these things and validate the process, well, it's actually because I myself managed to go through this whole journey. Now, my name is Juan Guerra. I'm the founder of Skills of Life, and I've been working with entrepreneurs for more than 6 years, helping them simplify their message and work on their marketing. But along the way, as I engage with different events and I host and travel, I noticed that in 2016 there was a potential for live video. And so I got really excited. I saw that there was an opportunity and I decided to jump in with a couple of friends of mine. And we started from the basics. I mean, I'm talking IKEA bags, iPads, just really hustling our way. And little by little, each year, the business grew and we learned and we become better at it and we become more streamlined. And customers could tell. Customers, I remember telling me how they were impressed that the quality had improved from the last time and the experience. But then in 2021, something happened. As I find out that I'm going to become a dad, at the same time, I had come to a crossroad. I didn't know if I should continue with the production company or I should focus on my storytelling coaching services. I decided to focus on the production company, but I knew that no longer I was going to be able to be part of the productions. And so it was this constraint that immediately pushed me to figure out a way to continue having the business running while I no longer could be part of it. And so I went on a journey trying to figure out how can we actually make this happen. You have to understand that actually production services can be quite complex and they can carry many different moving parts as you can see in this picture, and there's so many different people involved and there's so many different variables and so on. But the truth is that I managed to take myself out of production, obviously, because otherwise I wouldn't be doing this webinar. And at the same time, a couple of things happened that I completely didn't expect. Customers were so amazed from the process, the delivery, the experience that either they recommended us to everybody out there that they could, or they actually even offered to invest in the business, or they asked me to go and talk to other service providers to guide them and help them so that they could get some kind of processes in the way that deliver their services. All these were things that I completely didn't expect. I wasn't part of the service, of the delivery. We went ahead and delivered over 100 events in 2021, and I didn't have to be part of any of them. But our service improved, and I got the freedom that I so dearly wanted. I got to be with my son as he came into the world. I got to be more time with my wife. And actually, my hours of work went down, my stress levels went down, and this was just amazing. And so this was my biggest driver to go ahead and systematize the process so that I could help other service providers experience that. I mean, to think that after so much work and so much stress, now suddenly the business felt like passive income. Now, don't get me wrong, like I was still involved and there was still a lot of stuff to do, but I now had to focus on managing the team, sales and marketing, and I was not part of the delivery, which is obviously the most time consuming part. And therefore, it just felt like passive income because it was so easy to manage, and seeing the clients being so excited and seeing the quality of the service go up rather than me jumping from one product to another, from one project to the other. It was just really incredible. And so that's why I'm so eager that you're here, because I'm going to share with you the system that I develop and implement. And I really hope that you can take some input from it so that you can get to experience that as well. And so normally the people that I come across and my biggest motivation are those service providers that are currently struggling to deliver their service. And if you feel that you're working way too many hours, I mean, you're jumping from one project to the other, every project feels like you're starting from zero. I mean, I'm pretty much describing the situation in which we were in 2020. And I felt that every time we had been doing this for a couple of years already, and each client felt completely new. Somehow we had to replan and constantly focus on the project again and coordinating it, then working overtime, just things that didn't really make sense. At the same time, it felt like quality was suffering and not where I would like it to be. And this was something that was frustrating because, you go out there, you put your face, you sell, people trust you, and obviously you want to over deliver. In a production from our side, these are 3 4 hour events. And once you go live, there's no turning back. The last thing you want is to go live and start having hiccups because immediately the clients are going to want to eat you alive. And so, I don't know how it is for your business, but that's how it is for us. And so you're just constantly solving fires, and that creates so much unnecessary stress. I mean, think about it. If this is what you're going to be doing for the next couple of years, the last thing you need is just be in this stressful place. For me, it was getting to the point where people just saw us as an implementer. I literally had clients that told me, yeah, Juan, we just need you to provide the cameras and the people. That's pretty much it. Or they would immediately, they haven't even seen the price, and they're already asking to make a special discount because they're special somehow. And so, yeah, it was a challenging place where we started from. But actually, I couldn't believe it that things would look very differently by the time I was out. I got my time back. I got to be in the hospital. My son, unfortunately, was born with sepsis, which that meant that he was immediately hospitalized for 7 days. And so it's not like it was birth and then I was back at work. No, like I had to go to a hospital for the next 7 days for 10 hours a day so that I could be with him, with my wife, support them, and so on. And so really changed things. At the same time, I started seeing cash flow and I started saving and I started investing. I started working with coaches that helped me improve and that gave me guidance and helped me accelerate the process of growth. These all related resulted in less stress. Obviously, the clients feel that, the team feels that, and I started hiring people, started getting everybody aligned. So obviously, when you have people that can dedicate to certain areas, you by default now can increase quality, especially if you create the right culture in the team. Biggest thing was word of mouth. Every time we deliver a service, people love it, and the clients were so happy that they recommended us. So we knew that every time we deliver a project, we knew that there were people going to come our way. And so now people start coming to us because of our expertise. They see how we can help them, they see the value, we position ourselves as an authority, and now we become an investment. And so complete shift on the business and how things run, and that's definitely a place where we want to be. And so that's a process, that's where we started, that's how we ended up. And so what I'll give you here is the framework on how we made that transition. But in order to get there, there are a couple of things that I want to cover with you, because surprisingly, I've spoken with some service providers, and one of the things that keep coming is some kind of terminology that I think we need to be really aware of where we stand. This awareness is crucial in order for us to understand what are the actions that we need to take and why. And so, if you ever heard of Robert Kiyosaki, he wrote the book Rich Dad Poor Dad. And in there, he talks about the cash flow quadrant. And he categorizes that there are mainly four ways that we can earn money. One is as an employee, and that means we got a job. And stay with me for just a second, because this is quite important for some maybe that are struggling with this. And so we have a job, we're an employee, then we transition into self employed, and that means we own a job, right? And so that's number two. Then we move to business owner, which is we own a system. And then lastly, we are an investor and we have money work for us. Here on a system where people work. Okay. So this is three, and this is four. The reason why I explain this and I go over this is because many times I hear entrepreneurs, people who are self-employed, talk about their business. And sometimes people don't realize that actually you can go 30 years as a self employed person and you actually don't have a business. You have nothing to sell because all this time you have owned a job. If you stop working, you don't get paid. Now you have certain benefit. Yeah, you pay taxes after you have spent money, but you don't have vacation. You need to now cover all these different areas. You have way more work than you used to have as an employee. Actually, you're in a worse position because you get taxed the same, but now you have crazy amount of hours and you need to worry about making money because you don't have consistent income. And so this is crucial to keep in mind, the difference between business owner and self-employed, because I feel that many people think that they are a business owner when in reality they are self-employed. And so if you feel that you're struggling and you think that it's because, well, that's what it is to have a business and you just need to hustle more and work even more, the reality is that chances are is that you are self-employed, you're not a business owner, and you need to work really fast to get out of delivery. That's the first thing that you need to do. You need to step out of delivery. And I'm going to talk a little bit about this later, but that's the first thing that you need to do. If you stay stuck in delivery, you will never be able to start working on the business, which is your actual product, and start developing the systems that you need in order to deliver value to customers so that people then can run them as the employees that they are. And from there, you start making the money that you invest and then you make more. But this, I wanted to clarify right now, the difference between the two is really important to have clear, so that then we know that the first thing that we need to do and make a priority in order to move ahead is we gotta become business owners by developing systems. The way we develop systems is by getting out of the delivery process. It's for me crazy how many self-employed people believe that they have a business and they don't realize that actually they just have a job. So I this might be hitting you like a ton of bricks, and I'm sorry to be the one giving you the bad news, but the faster you can embrace this and understand this, then the faster you can start moving forward. And if you already know this stuff, I mean, it's never hurting to have this refresher so that then you can see where you stand. Maybe you know this and it's been a couple of years and you're still self-employed, you're still a freelancer, then you know that action needs to be taken. So our goal in Skills of Life is to help you become that business owner. And the first step is to get out of delivery. Good. So now we are clear the difference between the two. And one thing to keep in mind here, and I don't remember where I learned this from, but this is something that I see across organizations out there. And it's one of the reasons why it gets so hard for us, whether if you're one person, if you're two, three people, why it's so hard to continue growing. And it is because apparently organizations, the way that they develop is in multiples of 1, 3, 10, 30, 100, and so on and so on and so on. What that means is that when you start the business, and in the very beginning, the very stages, you are the secret sauce. And so everything goes through you. You have everything in your mind. And that's why it is so hard to delegate. It's so hard to see other people doing it. It's so hard to you're just trying to figure out how other people can do it like you and so on. And so as we grow, we hire people. So that's maybe you hire two, three people now. There's three of you, four of you. This is more or less 3 to 4 people. Maybe you get to 5. And so if you manage to survive being by yourself, you're gonna grow. And so you're gonna be 3 to 4 or 5 people. And if you manage to survive, you're gonna go and continue growing. So what happens is that the way the organization looks here is very different from the way it's going to look here, and the way that you're going to look when you are here. Why? Because at every stage you need to develop new systems and processes, communication structures that allow you to manage and get everybody aligned, working towards the same goal. And so the moment you start hiring, immediately now you have more things on your plate. Before you had delivery, sales, and all that stuff. Now you have hiring, recruitment, training, onboarding, and more. And so it becomes really, really hard how to have this strategic overview, which is where we come in. That's why we develop the program. But in general, that's where people get lost. And so if you don't manage to make this jump, what can happen is that you can actually move back. That is completely possible. You can move back all the way until closing. And so this is definitely something that you want to avoid because you work really hard to make your way forward. And so there are organizations that go through the S curve. And that means that you are a trend or something happens that pushes you to grow. And so now you're at this point whether you can go back, you stagnate there, or then you continue moving on onto the next S curve. And you need to figure out where it is that you are. Hopefully you're somewhere in the growth process where now you are thinking of investing so that then you're ready to move to the next jump, to the next S curve, and capitalize on that growth. And so this is important to know because it allows us to understand why it's so hard to make that transition and why it's so easy to remain stuck in delivery. And it's because every time you do this, you need to become somebody else. Sort of like in a game, your level of skills represent the level in which you are. If you're playing video games, you cannot reach level 5 if your skills don't allow you to perform all the way until level 5. And it is the same way with entrepreneurship. The only way you're going to move out to the next level is if your skills are on that on the par of that level that requires you to perform. But at the same time, It takes time to develop them, and it takes time to acquire them, and many things can happen in that time. So that's why obviously working with others, surrounding yourself with people that have been there, accelerate the process. Another reason why it is really hard to scale your business is actually, I couldn't find a term for this, so I decided to call it the over delivery paradox. This is something that really made it hard for us to grow in the beginning. If you're struggling with finding people that can deliver stuff in the same level like you, if you're struggling to find a way that you can delegate your work, if you're struggling to get other people to see things the way you see it, this is probably why. So let's say that this is X, yeah, this is level 0. When a client comes to us to solve a problem, they are looking for something, a solution that has all these things or whatever it may be, right? What happens is that, let's say, okay, this is the level of solution that they're looking for. You could deliver here and you could be over delivering, but we are so in love with our product and we are experts at it, and we know all the things that are important to deliver and all the things that we can help the person, that what is happening is that we are setting the standard here of over over delivering. And it is all this stuff that you're doing here that is actually complicating your business. So you can have complexity, but you should not have a complicated business model. What you do could be complex, but it doesn't have to be complicated. It is this space here that makes it really hard for you to scale. It eats away your profit. It makes it really hard for you to delegate and find people to support you. And what is interesting at the same time is that also this could be costing you sales. Why? Because when you are having a sales call with a potential customer, you start telling them about all the things that you're going to do for them. And now they feel like, well, but I don't have capacity in my business to do this. Maybe you feel like they don't understand it, or you're wondering why you do stuff that they just don't take advantage. Well, that's either they don't have the capacity to deal with that in their business, or there's no need for it. And I have had clients that they told me, well, but we don't need this and we don't need that. And like, if we take this out, would we pay less? And so little by little, you put all these things there and they feel like you're just trying to sell them things that they don't need. And it's just that we're so in love with it that we don't realize it. When we first started in our production company, we used to do so many things for customers. Like, they would ask us a question, and because we didn't have the expertise or the background, we're like, okay, well, they ask us how many people they're gonna watch the streams. Well, we need to do campaigns, and so we now put campaigns for them, and then we do this other thing, and then we do this other thing. And obviously, that ate away all the profit. We were completely undercharging all that. And the way the business looks today, it is so simple compared to how it used to be, but it's exactly what customers want and it's exactly the things that they're looking for. And so we need to simplify the business. We need to turn that service that has been commoditized by the way that we communicate it and the way that we present it into the market. And because customers now are able to compare, we find ourselves just dropping prices so that we can be more attractive or adding even more things to it. And so this is why it becomes so complicated to scale your business. And so we went through and what we did is there were 3 stages. We had to productize our service. From there, we had to systematize it. And lastly, we had to standardize it. We had to productize it because that way I could make sure that when I was not there, we would still deliver the same thing to everybody. And since I had less time, now I could focus on selling one thing. And so that was the first stage. The way that we productized the business was, well, there were 3 stages there. We had to really understand what's the vision here. where it is that we want to go. So we had this commoditized service. It was really easy for people to compare us to everybody else. The market dictated our prices. The market dictated the way we sold. And I was like, well, where it is that we want to go? This cannot be it. And so, because I'm not coming from the production side, but actually on the business side, I started really trying to empathize with the customer and trying to understand what it is that they're trying to achieve. And so that allowed me to understand what they're looking for, what is it that they desire, look into the market, and really come up with an offer that we would just was completely productized, and we would not differentiate, like we would not deviate from it. That's what we do. This is how we do it. The moment we define that, right, through the process that we went through and like making sure that this was the thing that worked, now we knew we had a product, and it was about making sure that we could deliver it at scale and just continuously obsess about improving it. So we wanted to make sure that we look into the intellectual property of the business, and we put it all into a system that we can run over and over and over. That even though the client needs change, the delivery was going to be the same. And so we look into the process that customers go through, and we also look into the delivery of that service, just to make sure that it was streamlined, and actually we turn it into systems that could be replicable. And funny enough, clients started to appreciate it. We had a couple of clients that we kept working with, and they're like, oh my God, because I know exactly how things will be, now I'm able to create processes that are simplifying my own business. So by them working with us, their businesses started to get easier and simpler. And so this was incredible for us. And lastly, we had to bridge a gap, because where we wanted to go, where we defined on that vision, is not where we started. And so we need to identify that gap and start bridging how we're gonna make our way there, how we start behaving like that company. And that starts then pushing us to get everybody aligned. And so if you're by yourself, you need to, start hiring a team, start working with people. If you already have the people, then how do we make sure that they're aligned and they know what they need to do, when and how, that they're not only looking into their areas, but they understand the workload that their colleagues have as well, and so on. And so we make sure that everybody is there. And then I started my transition out of the delivery. I start little by little, being less involved. And then actually the day that my son was born, we had a very big production, 8 people project. And I remember on that day sending the message, we were in the Uber going to the hospital, and the team was like, don't worry, we got it. We know exactly what's going to happen, how it went. And yeah, everything was delivered beautifully. The client was super happy, and they just wished me, like all the best with parenthood, and don't worry about it, it's all good. And we continued to do more projects after that, and I didn't have to be involved. And so from there we move into scaling the business, making sure that you have the processes so that things stay the way they are, and you don't need to step back into the delivery system. And so this is actually how you get to transition out of delivery. You start by productizing your service. You know where you want to go, you look into your customer, you empathize and develop that offer. Now, this is going to be really hard if you haven't delivered or sold anything at all. This works only if you already have been in business at least a year, 2, 3, where you have been selling different products and services, and now it's time for you to start stepping out of delivery. If you are experiencing some of the stuff I mentioned before, then this is the process for you. Whether you're alone and you're ready to start building the team, or you already have the team, this is the process. First, you productize your service. Then you systematize your delivery, and finally you standardize your operations to make sure that you don't need to go back there. And so, what you want to do now is maybe you wrote and took notes of this. I hope you did. Well, ideal case would be if you start analyzing where do you stand on these different areas. What is something that you know you fully have? Like maybe your vision is clear, or maybe your offer, maybe you know your dream team, right? Maybe you know exactly what happens when and how, right? Maybe with some other things, you're not so clear, right? Maybe you already started with the systems and all these other areas that allow you to have a clear strategic overview. You start in that journey, right? And so maybe some things are not so clear for you. And so I think about it. I hope you wrote it down and maybe highlight the things where you feel you are stronger and the things that you are not. Because here at the center of all this is your delivery. You want to have a standardized delivery system. Your delivery is actually a marketing tool, a tool that would allow you to get more customers. And Michael Gerber talks about this in the E-Myth. And so if you're interested, obviously you can look more into that. But by being able to productize your service, now you're able to scale, you're able to increase efficiency, and you're able to increase quality. By systematizing and standardizing, now you're driving profit. You have a lean team that is doing exactly what needs to be done. You're able to get more clients, right? And because you standardize it and you productize it, now you have a sellable business, at least as you move on to do the same with the marketing and sales area. And so you want to make sure that you look into this and look into where you're standing. Now, if you maybe have gone through the website, you have noticed that we have this skill program. And if you look into what you need to do and you're interested in maybe getting some help or thinking about how this could look for you, I went through 4 years. It took me 4 years to figure out that model and to get to where we were. But at the end, it worked out. And so probably it will be the same for you. It's a lot of trial and error. There were so many things to learn, especially as I started creating the positions for people, like what identifying what were the things that I used to do that I wasn't even realizing because they just come natural for me. And now I need to maybe give them to somebody else that needs to be there. All that trial and error, also working together with the customers, all the communication, all the process. I mean, it took about 4 years and it all worked out amazingly. And so obviously that was part of the whole reason why I decided to systematize it so that we can package it into a 3-month program that can guide you and get you on the right path so that then you can between 3 to 6 months actually do the same. I really hope that service providers get to see this presentation and get that overview so that they can understand and identify how they can actually move forward rather than go back and have to take a job. But pretty much the process for the scale program goes as follows. We start by those 3 accelerators. We look into your vision, we work together onto understanding your customer, your market, and then we come up with an offer that is unique and scalable and that allows you then to sell to more people. It allows you to be more profitable and it allows you for other people to deliver it for you. From there, we move on to systematizing that delivery so that we can make sure that every customer has the same experience, and therefore they know what to recommend you for, and they know that when they recommend you, they actually know what the other people are going to get, and they keep coming back to hire you because they know how that experience is going to look like. And then lastly, we standardize those operations so that the team can perform, and then you move on onto driving everything from a more strategic place, and you continue to grow by focusing on sales and marketing and then doing the same there. That's how it goes. I actually have a special opportunity for you, and that is that because we recently launched the program, we are actually offering, we have a couple of spots offering for case studies. What that means is that we get to work closer one on one as we build the program and we go through this journey. I want to make sure that I work hand in hand with you and really support you on the implementation of these systems so that you have the accountability and the support and the feedback that you need to succeed. This is going to require you that you go out of your comfort zone, that you do things normally that you don't do, but they're all aligned with the way that that company that you envision actually behaves. And so by the end, you will have that overview. And so if you're interested, and this is something that maybe you feel that you're ready to go through this journey and start productizing your service and systematize your delivery and then standardize your business, then I invite you to apply for the Scale program and become a case study. And there are actually a couple of perks with that because as we meet every week and we work together for 12 weeks, well, actually, you get to work closer with me. You're going to have access to the group. And so you actually get to work with me for a little bit longer in case things take a little bit longer than you expect, or maybe your workload is too intense right now. And so that's part of the whole case study part where you get a more hands-on experience, and we in exchange get to tell the whole world about your story. At least we get to use your story and showcase your business in our marketing materials so that people can see how you went through it and what you achieved from it. So obviously it's a win-win because that pushes us to work even harder to make sure that you succeed. But in the case that things don't go according to plan, if you feel that we're working together for at week 4 and you feel that this is not the thing that you expected, you feel that this is not working out, just let me know and I'll give you your money back. No problem. And so what would be the next step? You can go ahead and get started now. Now that you have an overview, pretty much what we're going to do is that system, that framework that I walked you through, that's exactly what we're going to be implementing in your business. You can go ahead and try it by yourself and see how long it takes. You have an overview now, so you have an overview of how that process would be. But if you feel that you want to have the feedback, you want to have the accountability, you want to work with somebody that has been through it and help you accelerate the way that you get there so that you and your team can start performing faster, then go ahead and book a strategy session. We're going to talk over, we're going to see, identify what is holding you back, what's the thing in your business. And if we see that if the program is a good fit for you, then I'll go ahead and extend an invitation. And so actually booking and applying doesn't mean that that the program is right for you. We want to make sure that it is, and that's why we have the strategy session. But if it's not, I'll point you in the right direction. We will identify what is limiting you, and I'll walk you through the process that you can go through so that you can be eventually ready for the program. And that's it. Thank you very much for being part of this training. I really hope that you as a service provider are able to turn things around, and this gives you some clarity on your situation and why are things the way they are and how life can look like once you implement that 3-step process, that system that I went through, and that would actually help you get there. And if you want some help, if you want to make things faster for you, I would say go ahead and go to skillsoflife.net/book. There should be also a button on the bottom of this video that you can click on and go ahead and apply for the program. That's it from my side. Thank you very much. My name is Juan Guerra, and I hope that I can meet you in your strategy session so that I can learn more from your business and we can get you on the right path so that you can get your time back, scale your business, and really have that freedom of time, place, and money that push you to actually get started back in the beginning with everything. Cheers and all the best.